Welcome back to Who's at the Chef's Table with Chef Dan. This week, your hostess, Doris with a D, is sitting down with Mauro Benetti, the founder and owner of Nonna's Bistro Cafe.
Hi, everyone. I'm Doris with a D. Welcome. Today, we are at Nonna's Bistro and Cafe, Argentinian restaurant. We are with Chef Dan at the table, and we have Mauro Benetti here, and we are going to interview him, and we're going to ask him some questions about who he is, where he comes from, and what he does. Welcome. Thank you for having us here.
Thank you for coming and visiting my restaurant.
Thank you for being here, and thank you for inviting us. We're very happy to be here with you today. How long has this location been open?
So this year in October, late October, beginning of November is going to be 4 years that I've been at this location.
4 years ago.
4 years.
Wow.
Yeah, I remember watching one of the videos with Rick Tobin. That's how we found the place.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's such a beautiful place here. Everything is just so cute. I love that. I remember the first time we came, you guys were preparing to have music, and the place was full and
Two
everything.
guitar players. I remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was like dueling guitars and stuff. It was beautiful. How did you get the inspiration? I know Nonna means abuela,
Abuela.
grandma.
Grandma. So
Yeah.
it's an Argentinian restaurant. You know, we infused it with the American culture. You know, Argentinian culture, it's very similar to Italian because there's a lot of influx of the Italian culture.
Mm-hmm.
My mom and my dad are Italian, and my mom's, luckily she's still with me, and she's the traditional Italian cook. So growing up, I knew everybody would taste her food and it would be like, my God, your mom cooks amazing. And I know for a fact you cannot find when I know like that in today's world that can cook that with heart and with love, you know? So I grew up in that industry when I was growing up. My summer, while I was here in middle school or high school, I would actually enjoy my high school cooking at home. That would be my summer vacation, you know? And I would actually watch TV shows or learn from my mom. And I would cook a different dish for my family on a daily basis. And that's what I would do. That would be my summer break, you know?
Where in Italy? Was it northern, southern?
Both. My mom is from South. She's from Cosenza. My father's from Potenza, which is closer to Rome.
Okay. Yeah, so you have the best of both worlds.
Correct. So they migrated to Argentina after World War II. Because, I was born there alongside with my brothers. So I learned the Argentina culture. And then when I was 11, my parents migrated to North America. So I pretty much grew up in Florida. So that's why you would see our breakfast being the American traditional breakfast where you have omelets, Benedicts, and waffles and pancakes, infused with the Argentinian steaks and pastas that are, for our dinner or lunch.
Right.
No,
It makes it a more satisfying breakfast.
What I love about the place, though, is we're going to put pictures up. You have the whole section that's like the cafe, bakery, and stuff,
Correct.
and then you have the whole restaurant, and it really is like two separate
entities.
It's awesome.
But as you know, when you walk into the restaurant, you will see a cafe with lavata, Italian coffee, and a whole display of empanadas, and a whole display of desserts and cakes. So it creates this casual, but then when people come in, they realize that it's more than that. We do serve a full breakfast, a full lunch, a full dinner.
And then we saw that there, and I was like, "What's going on over there?" And then we saw the guys with the guitar. I'm like, we got to come back for that."
So, believe it or not, I still do the shows. I used to do it more often, and I wanted to infuse the Argentinian music and shows. So now I host it once a month. I do either folklore or tango or ballads that are traditional from the country. So luckily this Sunday, actually, I have one of the singers actually coming in, and they're going to do tango, folklore.
Oh, nice.
So it's going to be, the one I do is usually on a Saturday at 8 p.m. So it allows everyone to be able to participate in the show.
Let us know. We'll put it up on our website for everyone to see.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I love that. I'm going to miss the tango edition. I'm sure you'll be back.
Yeah, next month. We always host it. Sometimes, people come and they say, "Hey, I want to do a karaoke," and I host them, and I have all the equipment, and they come in and they create a local atmosphere, and then it becomes like a family get together with family and friends. And I bring out the karaoke, and everybody's having dinner, having a couple of glass of wine or beer, and then
and that's the best. There's nothing better than going to a restaurant and having a good time with everyone, people around and all. Because when you go there, you're sitting there with like 3 people, 2 people, and it's just like, okay, we eat, we talk, we're out. But now when you've got other people involved,
correct,
it's so much. It's an experience.
Correct.
It's just not dinner. And she'll tell you, like, when we do the reviews, I don't like places where you just go to eat and leave.
It becomes not personable.
Right.
You have to feel comfortable in everywhere. And I included myself when I go out to other restaurants or any other places. I want to feel comfortable. I want to feel
comfortable.
Besides having great food or the atmosphere it's something that creates.
You walk in, you want to feel welcomed.
Correct.
I mean,
you want
like
that hub.
Well, like I pointed out the cafe because, for instance, if we have dinner and maybe we might not want dessert, but you know what? By the time I hit that door and look at that, I'm going to want dessert.
Dessert.
So but there's more to it, and then I don't even want to get started with the outside and the view.
That's the thing,
I'll leave that for you.
I mean, if you look at the restaurant itself, it's a full 360 view with windows.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So you could see the entire outside, overseeing the intercoastal part of the ocean.
Yeah.
We're right on.
Lighthouse.
Correct.
Oh my goodness.
So, you could sit in the patio and have a glass of wine. You watch people walk and run and and you could see people coming in through the inlet, going in through the ocean. So it's a relaxed atmosphere. It's not commercial. It's more like at home atmosphere.
It's more Italian. It's more
Correct.
laid back.
You also said
It's
it
cafe style.
before we were taping. You said it's definitely a hidden gem.
Correct. Because we're located in, if you look at our location, it's not like we're located in where everybody goes to, like a pier or a beach access. We're located right on ocean, but it's unique. It's separate. It's secluded from everything.
Mm-hmm.
So if people come from Fort Lauderdale area, they might turn into 14th going west, and they actually miss the area, or vice versa. So when people come in here and they know what we are about, what we do, what we give, what we provide, they become in love with the restaurant, and then they come back and they want to see us again and again.
Yes. Yeah, definitely.
That's what it's about. That's what it's about. Yeah.
So, to get there, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of communication, making sure.
Yeah.
And a day in, day out, you're providing that service. You're providing the quality of food. I see you guys taste it. Our desserts, our breads, our empanadas, our pretty much all the things are made here
Made in-house.
in-house. So it's not like it's bought. So if you're going to have a piece of bread, even for our sandwiches, it's going to be homemade. For our breakfast.
I know that.
So when you ordered, let's say, an omelet or a Benedict, those toasts, either whole wheat or white bread, we make it here in house.
Wow.
So sometimes during the week,
Wow.
as the pastry chef or that makes the bread as well, you will see them displayed outside, because sometimes people would want to buy the entire loaf right off the oven.
Right out of the oven.
See that? Yeah, absolutely. It's nothing like fresh bread. It's nothing like a fresh bread out of the oven.
Well, I just told someone that story last week about when I bit the bagel. Years ago, there was a bagel factory
We
around.
bit the bagel.
There was a bagel factory around, and I would go and I'd buy bagels right from the factory. So they were warm. So one day I got there, and I see them coming out of the oven. So the guy said, "What do you want?" I said, "Give me a dozen of those." And he's like, "Well, what are?" I'm like, "Just a dozen. Whatever those are, I'll take them." Like an idiot, I got in the car and I went like this. I bit into it. I burnt my lip, my gum, my tongue.
No way.
It just came out of the oven, and those things are like little bobs. But I couldn't resist. Like she just said, the smell of the
smell,
fresh.
yes.
I had to. It was like,
It's like Krispy Kreme when you see the red light and you want to go in, and
it's like, you can't. It's like, and in my head, I'm going, and I'm in the business forever. I'm sitting there,
Right.
I'm sitting there like, am I an idiot? Because like, why did I do that?
I know this.
As soon as I bit into it, I was like, why did I do
Better
that?
than this.
But
You don't have any other locations, right?
No, not currently.
Not yet?
I'm in the plans of in the near future to expand
Okay.
to either north of this location. A lot of people that come, either seasonal or locally. That they wish they had something closer to their home. So when they come for the season time,
I could see that.
they're like, I wish I had this near my home up north.
Yep.
But and in your mind, you're like, why couldn't I be there? And it's always there. I'm not saying that it's impossible, but it could be a possibility.
Well, what I always tell people too is like, get your craft down, and like all the times we've been here, everything runs like clockwork.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a natural progression for us.
Correct.
What I hate seeing is when we see somebody with a brand new place and right away they're looking for another place. I'm like, how hard it is to get established?
So that was when I started the industry. That was my original thought process. When I sunk in and realized what it takes, what it's about.
Right.
Right.
What it takes.
The details.
And it's perfection.
And there's a lot of fire.
Because you know what it is, as you evolve and as you grow, you listen and you take criticism and you take it constructively in order to become better and better.
Yeah.
Everyone has opportunities. We all do. And and it's a matter of reacting and becoming better, not just with the food itself, with the service, with anything that you provide.
Right.
It's an evolution, and it's a constant learning and experience, because we as humans, we evolve in day in, day out.
Right. We learn.
And we learn
mistakes.
So what we all did 5 years ago in any industry, we evolve with the changes, what people demands are, what people needs are, what the trends are, in order to meet them and in order to be available to the customers to what they need on today.
Without paying attention to that, to your clientele, you cannot grow.
Correct.
Yeah.
But
I love that you enumerated, you went right for it, you laser focused on it, you told us why you do what you do and how you do it. I love that.
But then in my mind too, I don't want to lose my essays. I don't want to lose the reason why I am doing what I'm doing.
That's what I was saying.
Because I do have a difference. What makes me stand out from everybody else.
Right.
It's something that I was raised with, it's something that I was involved with. And it's an acquired taste. It's something that when you provide it from the heart, everything else goes,
Yeah.
And I think everyone knows that and feels it and tastes it as they goes through your mouth and in the palate, and you feel the difference.
You said that. Taste the love.
I can taste the love.
Yeah.
It's true.
And
it's a beautiful thing.
And it's, and you see it. You remember in your own home, when you cook with love, everybody else loves it. And I think
it's going to be good.
Anything that you do with love in life, whatever you decide to do, will get you where you need to be.
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. That's the only way to be.
That's it.
And that's
and the same thing. But the same thing, like open multiple businesses. I hope I don't embarrass you.
No,
but I've seen you here working on equipment.
But
I've seen you do that. Now you don't know how many owners don't do that. They just call somebody. So now if you had 3 locations, either
that would be a different
at one time.
I would love to make 3 of me, hopefully with technology.
No, but what I'm saying is this was like your proving ground. This was your proving ground.
Nice, right?
And you did, 4 years here, you got your proving ground. So now whenever XYZ breaks, you know how to fix it.
Correct.
So you don't have to say, call the repair guy that's going to charge you hundreds. You can.
And sometimes it's not about calling the repair guy. It's finding the finding the right person or are willing to do it. You could call, but they're not they don't come right away.
But
if they do come, they sometimes don't have the skills necessary, and that's another issue.
Well, no, but now you have the knowledge of pretty much everything, how it runs.
Mm-hmm.
That's my point, because a lot of people jump into it. They buy 2-3 restaurants, and I don't know, the pilot goes out on the stove. Now you can fix that pretty quick.
Mm-hmm.
They might call somebody, and even if they come, they're going to pay.
And it's not like I did that in the past. I'm crafty, but I take the chance. I learn. I watch
once you got
videos and things, and I could do things.
But once you got it down, like I always go back to, and I think I told this to you last week. We were talking about it when I was in college to be a chef. One of the chefs told me, once you learn everything there is to learn, get out. And the same thing with business. Once you learn everything there is to learn, expand.
Correct.
But don't do that
until you know.
Yes, because you can't learn on the go.
The problem is, everybody has a skill.
Yep.
But
special one.
But in this industry alone, it's a multiple type of skills. It's production, it's service, it's availability, it's operational. So you have an entirety. So when it's owned by yourself, not a corporation,
Right.
you learn to be a jack of all trades.
Yes. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
in the finance world, in the the budgeting and the controlling of the expenses. So you're not just focused on the taste,
Right.
and the
presentation,
production and the delivery.
Yeah.
And you're multitasking.
Yeah, you have to know it.
And if you're not organized, you could easily lose track of the entire process.
It's easy to do too. It's very easy to lose
or
that
super
track.
intelligent where your mind,
Or they focus on
focus
on the wrong thing.
correct. But the problem is, when you're not delegating or you're not expressing your mission or your goal, you will never expand because your team needs to know where you are,
Right.
what you want to do, what you're all about, and what your intention of being.
Yeah.
No,
and when you're pivoting,
And
you
the same
have to
thing with
know that they're on board.
personality. Well, same thing with personalities. They will know your weakness.
Correct.
And I mean, I've been in spots where I started new as a chef and they didn't know what I knew. And, I sent home a saute guy and a grill guy with 210 covers one night. I sent them home and I took over. And after that, one guy came back, but you know what? The rest of the crew, after that, they knew what I could do.
Correct.
And that game wasn't played anymore.
Because, the industry, you depend a lot on certain people to do what they do, so as an owner, the biggest mistake people make is depending on the specific person to do the job.
Mhm.
And in order to be successful in any industry, not just a restaurant, you have to be able to do anything from A to Z in your business. So you don't depend on dishwasher, the cook, and the server. So if they're not performing and they're not delivering their mission, you don't have to hold on to them because you need them. They have to set their expectation. If they don't meet them, that you're able to do it until you find that person that can do it for you.
Yeah. And one of the philosophies I always have too is you can't tell somebody to do something that you don't know how to do.
Correct.
So if you have your recipes and you tell them, oh yeah, make this or do that, and you don't know how to do it, and you go, here's the paper, you're setting yourself up.
Correct.
You're setting
Correct.
yourself up because
it's never going to be the same.
right, not going to be, and it's not going to be what you want.
Correct.
Whereas even like what we do, like, I do all of our stuff, all of our editing and all, and people are like, oh, you can get somebody. And I said, no, I want it my way. And when God willing, when the day comes that I have to hire somebody, I will be able to say, this is how I want it.
Correct.
And if they say, oh, it can't be done, I can say, it can be done.
It's not only done, it should be done.
Because
It has been
because
done.
like in the kitchen, I'm sure you've hired cooks here and you've told them X, Y, and Z. And the minute you turn around, they do it how they want to do it.
Correct. Because I understand, I understand the way they reason. They went to school, they studied, they perfection themselves in certain industry or certain portion of the cuisine.
Right.
So for them, this is what I'm good at. Hey, this type of grilling or cooking this type of food. So when you take them out of their comfort zone, they tend to fight back.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and that's the reality. And,
Yeah.
and you have to make sure you encourage them. You show them why. And then
Exactly
once
why, because that's the whole thing.
and once they understand it and they get it, they know, and they're like, why did I not do this? And they open up their mind to not just be narrow-minded on one portion of the cuisine,
Right.
but just to do an entire process.
You must have read Ken Blanchard.
Sounds that way, right?
That's one of Ken Blanchard. Explain why. Don't
Yes.
dictate.
I got-
Explain why.
I'm going to tell you why. Because my background when I was growing up, I worked in the retail industry. And I grew up at 24. I became a store manager. So I had, managers, assistant managers, department managers were much older than me. And being super young, in order to become credible,
We both
in
have that
order to
situation.
become credible, you have to believe in yourself. You have to be consistent and fair with everybody. It's
you have
about
to be ahead of
accountability.
everybody,
It's
too.
about coaching, developing. It's
Yeah.
about
Absolutely.
it's about knowing that they matter and that everyone is important to drive your mission. So growing up in that industry, I learned a lot in the process, dealing with different personalities, how to pick the strength of one and the other one and create a powerful team. And I think in any industry you create, it could be restaurant, retail, it could be construction, whatever industry you choose. In order to build a team, you have to be able to differentiate personalities and carry on with each strength and weakness and actually create something.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Exactly. That's how it's
Yeah,
done.
I mean, I would do I do crazy stuff like that. I would have people, and I would say, you're in this position, you're in this position, and I would say, that's how I scheduled them, and I'd always schedule people different spots so everyone knows everything. But I know, like you just said, some people might not like doing that or like doing. So I would say to them, listen, you're assigned to whatever. If you switch, that's fine. However, if something goes wrong on whatever section, I'm going to who was assigned.
Yes, you're still responsible.
Yeah.
The crazy story is sometimes you have the hidden gem within your team.
Yeah.
And it's not for the position. Let's say, and it happened to me recently. I hired a person for the front end of the house she was serving in the front. I had a transition on my pastry department. She goes, I'm interested. I would have never thought that she had the capacity to do that particular job. I said, let me put you in training for a week or two. Within 2 weeks, she knew the entire
Look at that.
production.
That's awesome.
And she was so happy to do what she does.
Yeah.
And sometimes we don't even know that within our team,
Yes.
we have the people to replace or become
right.
better at what we do.
That's
Right.
right.
That's
You
what
know?
But when you find that, isn't that a blessing? I mean,
Correct. And then
just
you're like,
makes-
why didn't I think about it? Or why didn't I, express it before, and I had the solution right there and then the entire time.
Well, that's
And
one
the
of
thing
the.
is, it changes everything. And,
Yeah.
and that person comes in happier every day.
Mm-hmm.
And that makes changes happen all the way around.
And,
It's a
and,
beautiful
she
thing.
came here, she did it, but she wasn't fully happy in the front. And I think, sometimes people they're not personality, or they don't want to deal with, clientels or customer service.
Yep.
So they'd rather be in the back of the house where their mind is more in production.
Right.
And they don't have to deal with that portion of the business.
That's we talk about that, but traditionally.
Oh, yeah.
Traditionally, the kitchens, especially in America, that was where people went that didn't want to deal with other people.
Correct.
In fact, in the kitchens back in the 50s, 60s, 70s, you had people, criminals, ex-cons or whatever, they come work in the kitchen because they didn't want to deal with whatever.
Mhm.
And that's when I came up through that. So like,
And it's mostly because
very different now.
correct.
Yeah.
Now you have different levels,
Different.
It evolved in such a difference, most people in the kitchen have studied, have been out and traveled the world, and they have seen different tastes and applied different, infusion into their
Totally different now.
into the interim of cooking,
Because I remember going into some of my kitchens and the manager's like, I'm going to go in here and do whatever. I'm like, yeah, let me make sure I'm not in the kitchen when you go in. Because you don't know what these guys are capable of, but it's, that's what you come up with. And it's funny because I was going to that thing about, some of these people, they don't want to deal with people and someone say, oh, you're an outcast, you're whatever. But you know what? You put them back there and look what they can create.
Yeah.
And it's like, wow.
Chef Dan and Doris with a D want to say a big thank you for hanging out with us on Who's at the Chef's Table with Chef Dan. This has been a SoFloDining production. We invite you to pull up a chair with us every single week. Make sure to tune in every Wednesday at 6:30 p.m. for a fresh episode. See you then!